Hello, friends. It has been a crazy and amazing year for my collection. It has gone under an extreme makeover in which I've completely shifted my whole plan for collecting Hall of Famers.
It seems like every time you go online.
And I have a very different list this year for my top 25 cards.
How could you not?
And that will be coming next, so stick around and check it out.
Wild horses couldn't drag me away.
Hello, friends. I am John, and I am the 3D 80s kid. Today is a great day to talk about baseball cards, and with today's focus being a review of my top 25 cards, just have a few things to say up front. So, I know these videos tend to get some comments of people that are saying that we are just flexing.
If the boot fits.
I just want to I have some thoughts on that, and it's like, if you feel that way, then I think you might need to take a look in the mirror. Is there something that you are feeling inadequate about yourself? And are you comfortable in your own skin?
You better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Because, what this is collectors who love these things and want to share it with somebody.
From my show and tell.
We happen to use the format of ordering it by value just as a means of organization is really what I'm seeing with this. And, as such, I want to do this. For me, I'm an engineer. I love data.
Nerd alert!
So I am also going to include the actual numbers for their current perceived value. At least these are going to be average prices from Vintage Card Prices, VCP as many people refer to it. VintageCardPrices.com is their website if you're interested at all. It's something I joined once I got into the point of looking for rare cards that are only go through like auction houses, and it saves so much time for me for just researching all of the rare issues and finding the historical record of how much these cards sold for, so that I can at least develop some general idea of how much I need to save up and budget so that I can be able to buy them when they come up. So my collection is not going to be like some of the ones you're seeing out there where these guys have been collecting nonstop for 20, 30, 40 years. So it is understandable that they are from the gate showing their top 50 or 100 cards, and their, last card in their list is still a four-figure card. It's not what you're going to see here at all. I got back into collecting as an adult just in beginning of 2021. Didn't even have very big budget. I wasn't prepared for how much some of this stuff was going to cost that first year. My budget has grown, slightly over these 4 years to where I'm spending a bit more money in the last 2 years. And the fact that I decided to flip a lot of my collection either by trade or selling because I changed my mind of what I wanted.
How many times has that actually happened? 12.
Meant I kind of ended up having almost 3 years worth of budget to work for to reformat my collection. I'm actually finishing this year with less graded cards than I started with, because I'm also doing a little bit of consolidation and chipping up where I'm getting higher profile, more expensive pieces rather than having more quantity. So being a lot more selective at times as well with condition. When I first came back into started collecting vintage, I had nothing. I had really nothing to put on the wall. And so I was impatient. I did, feel the need to actually start filling spaces up here without being as discerning as far as the cards went with what I was putting up there and what they looked like. So
I had no idea what I was doing.
Now I, feeling more comfortable with things, feeling more knowledgeable with things. I feel like I have stepped up from beginner vintage collector to intermediate level. Let me just, that's kind of where I feel like I'm at this point now. But, I've bored you enough with talking. You want to see some cards.
All right, I guess I fell asleep.
And I am going to flip the camera around so you can get a great view of the cards. And as I said before, I'll be giving values that are based on Vintage Card Prices averages, as well as then sharing how much I paid for them, when I got them, how I got them as well. So let's flip this camera around and get started. All right, let's get the fingers warmed up for hand modeling. And while I'm at it, one of the things I didn't mention earlier is that I have parted with 12 of the cards from last year's top 25, and 17 cards on this year's top 25 are new to the collection for 2024. So let's get started underway with my number 25 card, and that would be this gorgeous 1901 Lever Brothers Celebrities Winston Churchill, one of the few rare cards that is a true rookie card, according to Ryan over at Breakout Cards of Mr. Winston Churchill. And I was able to get this one in a eBay as a buy it now best offer, and I made the best offer at the time of 100 British pounds, which converts then to 132.89. And seeing as how there are only 2 SGC Authentics in existence, it is the only available comp for this card that exists. So there we go, number 25. Number 24 is a T205 of Bobby Wallace with the cap. This one was actually a gift from Matt of the Card Story at the National. And as far as the value on this card, the one comp on this card from this year seems like a very high price for an SGC1 relative to what these normally transact with. So that's one of the weird things you get with cards that don't transact very often in VCP, is that, if I was actually going to be able to sell this card, which I have no plans to do, I might be able to get about half of that listed value. So, but thanks again, Matt, for this wonderful gift. It is still a beautiful card. Thank you. Number 24. Number 23 is the 1950 Bowman Larry Doby in an SGC3, and this was acquired in a big 3-card for 22-card trade with Mr. Chris from Missouri as part of one of the 4 collector's trades night. That is annoying how it goes in and out of focus. What if I get even closer? Well, stay in focus. There we go. Gorgeous card. And at the time of our trade, this was valued at $125, and as you can see, it now has a listed value of $136. And also very gorgeous on the back. There we go, number 23. Number 22 is a very limited number of transactions on this guy, and that would be this 1934 Gaudy Hazen Kai Kyler, which is the only Hall of Famer in the Chuck Klein Says high numbers of 1934 Gaudy. And this beautiful copy was acquired by me last year for $125 in an eBay auction. This year's transaction in the same grade went for $136, so that is its new listed value on this card, which is number 22, after previously last year being card number 13 in my list. So another returnee from last year was actually previously my number 6 ranked card, and that would be this 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle in a 1, which, as you can see from the front, looks gorgeous in front, and gets that 1 grade from this beautiful back damage from being pasted into a scrapbook, which makes it much more affordable for that front eye appeal. And I acquired this card originally last year, early in the year, near the beginning of when PWCC first created their separate site, and cards were relatively going for values in those early days of their separate site, as I was able to get this one for $140 despite us being in the middle of the vintage card peak. And now the latest transactions have created the average of this as being $138. But as you know, there is a wide range of card appearances with 1s. And so, not that I want to sell it, but if I was going to, I would be asking for a lot more than $138 with this kind of eye appeal. So Take it for what you will as an average, but there we go. This is card number 21. Card number 20, another returnee from last year, my 1960 Topps Willie Mays in this beautiful SGC4, which I acquired at the peak of vintage and Willie Mays prices last year for $195, and now is listed as a value of $142. So this went from being my number 9 card last year to now number 20 on my 2024 list. So beautiful card of the greatest all-around baseball player of all time, Willie Mays. There we go. And now number 19, a new acquisition this year that I showed recently. This 1955 Topps Al Kaline in an SGC5 with just beautiful eye appeal on that one. That photo just pops off the screen at me. And this one I acquired in an eBay auction this year, just a few months ago, for $144. And its listed VCP average is $143. So that is my card number 19 with this beautiful Al Kaline. Number 18, another card from that big trade with Chris from Missouri, is 1949 Bowman SGC6 with no name on the front. That would be the more plentiful, cheaper variant of the card. Some cards of this have the little nameplate that would have his name on the front of it. Those ones are kind of a 50% adder premium relative to the price of these ones. And this SGC6 is listed at a value of $164. And at the time of my trade with Chris, this was in a PSA 6 slab that we placed a value of $200 for our trade on that card. And let's check out the back, which is really nice. There we go. My card number 18. Card number 17 was actually the number 1 card of my list last year, as I was the only comp on the card, and it is the 1919-21 W514 Walter Johnson hand-cut strip card in an authentic. And here what you get with authentics is, like ones, there is a wide range of eye appeal on these items. So this year's comp is a lower eye appeal version of the card, and as such it sold for $167 as opposed to the $228 that I paid last year. But I'll follow the guidelines I've set up for this ordering and keep the other comp, not selling this anyways. So don't really care about the value, but there we go. Looks like it was in someone's scrapbook previously, but gorgeous card of one of the inaugural Hall of Famers there with Walter Johnson. All right, up next, card number 16. This one was number 4 on my list last year when, like the last one, I was the only comp for the price I paid. And that is this 1921. Let's get that thing to focus. W551 Tris Speaker, another hand-cut strip card. This one being a 1.5. And I paid $201 for it last year. And yeah, like I said, this year's transaction, only one again. Apparently it's sold at a rate of 1 per year, at least in this grade. This year's transaction was at $170.99. So card number 16 now, after previously being my card number 4. All right, card number 15, another returning card from last year that was previously number 7, is 1934 Gowdy Lefty Grove in an SGC1. And as you can see, the thing is pretty darn gorgeous. It's got that one circular ring imprint on the one side of the card. And outside of that, looks like it would be somewhere around a 3 grade. But Gotta take bargains where I can find them. I paid $159 for this one last year in an eBay auction, and its current stated value is at $172.49 per VCP averages. Just beautiful. All right, now card number 15, I believe, is where I'm at. No, that was 15. This is card number 14. Sorry. The 1932 U.S. Caramel Franklin Delano Roosevelt in an SGC2. You know, it says 1932. Clearly, this is a 1933 set since it references his inauguration, which first occurred in January of 1933. So, be interesting how they did that in 1932. And it's very tough to find these cards. Once again, it was an annual transaction where last year my purchase was the only comp at $225, where I made a best offer to a best offer by now item. And this year there was one up in auction in the same grade that went for $172.50. Yeah, topping the last card by a whole penny as our average. And there's the back of that one. But gorgeous card number 14. All right, we're on to number 13, another new card now. After that run of previous cards, this is a 1957 Topps Hank Aaron in the SGC4. I showed this one not too long ago as a new acquisition. And I was able to get this gorgeous card in an eBay auction for $228. And current VCP average for the grade is 213. But what you will find is the average card for this set is got one of two issues. It's either OC to the point of being a miscut, or it is snowy with the card. So I was very happy to find this one with this kind of quality for a 4 grade and not having to go super expensive to find both of those items being tolerable. So lovely back on this one as well. There we go. Card number 14. Sorry, 13. Card number 13. All right, card number 12. A returning card from last year. This one was previously my number 3 card, and that would be this 1956 Topps Ted Williams. And now this is a case where I know I recently talked about the fact that I care about centering, but I am not going to replace this card because just look at the crystal clear quality of that picture on this card. Case where the only thing creating this grade is the fact that it came out with a funky cut from the factory, and there is no way this kind of clarity and sharpness of the picture on this card would cost anywhere similarly if it was even remotely centered. So I will keep this copy and be very pleased for years to come. I happened to be able to acquire this one, again, like the mantle, where it was off the PWCC site early in their existence. And so I was able to get what was a bargain at the time of this card for $165. And now it is currently listed as an average value of $224 for this Ted Williams card. Very happy with this one in my collection. Oh, yeah. All right. Where are we at next? We are at number 11. The card I showed in my very last video, purchased from Dawn of Dawn's Field of Dreams for $200. This gorgeous SGC4 of Charlie Gehringer. And according to VCP, it has an average value of $230. So very beautiful card. My number 11 card here. All right, we're into the top 10. Every card you're going to see from here on out is a 2024 edition that did not appear last year. And now we are going to one of my national pickups from Cleveland, and that would be this 1939 play ball Hank Greenberg in an SGC 3.5. Originally acquired it as a PSA 3 that was for $250 there at the National. And now, as an SGC 3.5, it is listed as an average value of $235. And just gorgeous copy of probably the greatest Jewish position player of all time. So, number 10, Mr. Hank Greenberg there. Number 9, the final card I acquired in my big trade from Chris from Missouri, and that is this 1951 Bowman Yogi Berra in a SGC 4. It was previously a PSA 4 that I crossed over, and at the time of our trade, it was given a trade value of $300. And I've seen an uptick in apparently the recent sales of this one that now create an average price for SGC4 of $355 of, for me, the most beautiful Yogi Berra card that just captures his spirit there. And it's got the beautiful wax staining that occurs with so many of the cards, where many of them were packs of one card only for a penny, I believe. So just gorgeous. Number 9, my Yogi Berra card. All right, number 8, card I picked up in a buy it now on eBay. 1952 Bowman Stan Musial in an SGC 4. This one here, the seller originally threw it up there for $499. And I saved it because it looked like a gorgeous copy. And then he threw out the availability where he knocked the price down to $450, and that was good enough for me because that made it be kind of near the top end range of what 4s typically transact at. And this being a gorgeous copy, I thought it was worth it. As the average for SGC4 is listed at $384. Of course, the average card in SGC4 does not look like this. So, love this one. This is definitely my favorite designed Stan Musial card, which is why I added it to the collection. There we go. Card number 7. Now, this one I acquired through an REA auction this year, and that is the 1947 Bond Bred Joe DiMaggio in an SGC 1. If you're looking at the front, you're wondering, how is that card a 1? And it is the most glorious thing ever, because this blank back card is back damaged. As in, nothing ever appears on the backs of these. And because it has this hole being glued down into a scrapbook, it is a technical 1 still because of that damage, even though there was nothing to see there anyways. So I am ecstatic about this one that I acquired for $480. And since these cards are fairly limited in supply, it is the comp for VCP. And so its value is also listed as $480. There we go. Number 7, Joe DiMaggio. Number 6, the other card I acquired at the National this year, and that would be this 1933 DeLong Jimmy Fox in an SGC 1. And I probably overspent a little bit just because I was so excited to see this card. I was tired near the end of the first day, and I ended up spending $650 on this card. I probably could have negotiated it down a little bit if I had any energy and brain power left to do so, but I did not, and I still love this card just the same. And it is listed as a VCP average of $541. And I am, hopeful that I live long enough where by the time it gets sold by my wife or my kids, that it will be well past that $650 that I spent on it anyways. So it's not leaving my collection. So love this one. Number 6, my Jimmy Fox there. All right, headed into the top 5. I have got a card I acquired in a opportunistic eBay auction that was ending in the daytime on a weekday, and also this was the starting price that I paid for it, which was already up into the low range for the card for the grade, and so it got no other bidders than me, and I was able to get this gorgeous 1955 Topps Jackie Robinson in an SGC4 for the price of $500. It is currently listed as a VCP average for $583, and it is just beautiful. And don't post-war cards in 4s just look nice. I mean, 1950s in 4 cards. And there's such a value, as like so many people are hung up on this whole collector grade thing of buying 5s, that there seems to be a big leap between 4s and 5s. So I am happy to scoop up 4s. All right. On to number 4. A card I acquired through watching a YouTube video, and the guy was offering what was now a double for him for sale as he upgraded his copy. And I thought to myself, you're crazy. You didn't need to upgrade. So I happily made contact and purchased the card. And that would be my 1953 Topps Satchel Paige in an SGC3. Oh, it's a great looking card. I suppose if you are obsessed with centering, it's not exactly perfect, but it's good enough for me for sure. And the back, has some extra damage to it, which I think knocks down the grade more than what the front would suggest. So this is right up my alley, where I believe I'm getting a bargain on front eye appeal thanks to that back damage knocking the grade down. So I purchased this one for $850, and it is currently at a VCP average of 803. So $850 to me is where you're at for this grade with higher eye appeal cards. So there we go. All right, number 3 is a brand new card to the channel as it recently came in. I participated in the recent Love of the Game auction and acquired this new card to the collection, and that would be the 1914 Polo Grounds game, if it will focus, of Honus Wagner, currently in a PSA 5 slab, which that will get remedied. I plan to hand walk this to SGC when I go to Strongsville coming up in April of next year. And I will get this thing properly fitted in its tuxedo. Who cares what the new grade is? It was all about getting this card, as I think the picture on this one is just spectacular with his split grip there on the bat. And this being one of the 3 options for Honus Wagner for a playing days card that is a normal size slab, and you can acquire them where they look really nice, and the 4-digit number that comes with these has a 1 in the front, as all of his cards that aren't game cards have a higher number up there. Usually the low end is like at least a 3 for thousands of dollars for his other cards. So yeah, I did not want to go there with Mr. Wagner, and so this game card was my option that I went with. And gorgeous on the backs of these with the Polo Grounds picture there. I won the auction for this one at $1,320, and this currently as the only PSA 5 sold in the last year. That is the current VCP average, is that $1,320, which makes this currently my number 3 card. All right. My number 2 card was another REA auction win this year, and that would be my 1928 W502 Lou Gehrig. Says hand cut on the label, but I have never seen one that doesn't look like it is factory cut, including this one. So I don't know that they are labeling those properly. They seem like they're made similarly to like the Tharps, Yingling, Harrington's, ice cream cards, or the York's caramel cards. They look like a similar production to that. So I don't really think they are a hand-cut strip card, but clearly mine was loved well enough that someone taped it into their scrapbook, and that's what gives it the authentic tag there on the flip. But it also, keeping that in their scrapbook, preserved this card very nicely. So thank you for keeping this good for me and creating it where an authentic grade significantly lowers the cost for me. And this one, it would be a blank back version. And I am the comp for this card currently with the only authentic in existence for SGC, and so that is at $1,800 of my auction win price, as well as being the VCP average for my number 2 card. All right, and my number 1 card, which if any of you have watched me long enough already know what's coming. This is a card I saved up from July of 2023 to June when it was an auction win in REA. And I, in fact, won that auction the very night of Hobby Palooza that we were hosting on 4 Collectors. I got to be on a live stream on Sammy Thunder's channel at the time, live when the auction was closing, and celebrated the win of this card with numerous members of the community, which is unforgettable experience, my highlight of the year, in fact. So, other than going to National. Outside of going to National and being with people in person, this was my highlight of the year. Let me rephrase that. So, there we go. 1920 W519 Babe Ruth unnumbered. This is, in fact, a hand-cut strip card. As you can see, whoever cut it short on both sides. But man, the resolution on this card compared to most of these that you see is just out of this world, because a lot of these are pretty rough looking, and this one looks pretty sweet. So got the min size not met since it's cut short on both sides. This, in fact, is one of my favorite grades in pre-war, as it significantly lowers the price, and I can get cards that look really nice like this one for prices even less than ones. I will take a pre-war card in this grade all day. So it was a blank back that somebody wrote down the wrong set originally, and then they got the W519 unnumbered on there and W519 on there. So yeah, they figured out what set it was and wrote it multiple times. So, but who cares about the back? So this one, I was the auction winner at $4,080. That's with the buyer's premium in there. So I don't think I will ever buy a card for this much money again. I had to save for the long time to make this purchase, and don't think I'm ever going to commit that much to a single card purchase ever again. You never know. When my kids are actually grown and out of the house and I have all kinds of more disposable income as a result, maybe I'll change my mind, but I'm not there mentally at this point to ever spend this much again on a card. So there it is. Card number 1 in my countdown, Babe Ruth. So that's it with my countdown. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments any of the cards that are your favorites, or any cards we have in common as far as owning. So everybody, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.
Well, see you next time.
Yeah, unless I get lucky and break a leg.